So, for these past few really years, but months, weeks, just been thinking a lot around just health and specifically men's health. Just well, health in general, but again, specifically men's health, but just also looking at a lot of folks, a lot of people in my generation are just pretty much dying off at a very young age, and it's really really disheartening. It's very scary. Some are passing away and dying, overdose. Some are dying from heart attacks and high blood pressure and diabetes. A lot of the things that are actually treatable, and cancer. And so it just made me think a lot about my health, me falling off and on the wagon, healthy, not healthy, having these pockets of not eating properly, but then getting back on the wagon. And I think it's also an opportunity for us to to be mindful to give ourselves grace and in our process of changing our lifestyle, because we have been so used to living a certain way. There's a level of comfort in living and eating the ways in which we have eaten. So it becomes challenging to give those things up. And then also we talk about access, right? Not being in spaces or living in communities where there is actually access to healthy opportunities, when there's, a cream cheese and bagel uh, store on every corner, or a liquor store on every corner, and pizza and Church's fried chickens and all of the other different unhealthy options that exist in a lot of our communities. It could be very, very challenging for it, but it's like, wow, it's very scary how we are dying off so young. We are dying off so young. We're suffering and dying from ailments that, when I was coming up, we talk about high blood pressure, we talk about diabetes, cancer, heart attack. Like those are things that we sort of seen old people having. That those were things that young people just didn't get, right, or didn't have. And so we're witnessing it now, and it's again, it's very disheartening, to just watch this happen. The way it's scary. It's very scary. It really makes me think about my health and being present for my children. But I also think about some of the cycles that just need to shift. And, not only is it around our eating habits and our culture around food, and, how we watch grandma and mom and dad take these pills for their, high cholesterol or whatever it is, the ailment that they're having, but then we're still serving the same food at the cookout. The very thing that they died from, we're serving the foods at the repast, right? And so it's just these cycles, these a lot of these things just we just have to break. And so I really also wanted to talk specifically around, especially with men. Again, I don't want to say especially, but I want to speak to the brothers. I want to speak to the men, and I'm gonna share my experience, right? So I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2013. My father, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer June 18th of 2013. My father died of colon cancer April 30th of that same year. So 2 months later, I was diagnosed with prostate. After his death, a month and a half, 2 months later, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. But I want to speak to the sort of the culture or the nature of, young men growing up without fathers, right? And not even to the young men that are growing up with fathers, but health not being at the hierarchy of need, of discussion. I did not have a condom conversation with my father. I knew nothing about condoms I found out about condoms through other young men who knew nothing about condoms also, right? They were fishing around in the dark because men were not having these type of conversations with their sons, whatever, right? It just was not a thing. Other than, when I was coming up as a kid, the 5% nation, man, don't eat pork, don't eat swine, right? Pork was the, thing, like, don't do that. Like, it's unhealthy. This is fathers, I think, of maybe a health talk, right, that I got coming up. And so when I think about, my prostate, I was 42 years old when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I had no idea what my prostate was, what its function was, where was it located. I had no idea. I knew nothing about it. And I only got a prostate exam because once my father died of the colon cancer, my thing was, hey, I need to go and get, I knew much to say, hey, let me go and get a colonoscopy because my father just died of colon cancer. But I was, sharing it with, I was in a barbershop at the time. I was sharing it with the rest of the brothers in the space. And the older gentleman, one of my clients, he said, hey, he was a prostate cancer survivor. He said, make sure you get a PSA exam, right? I'm like, what is a PSA exam? He said, it's a prostate specific antigen. It's a test that they take to, make sure that your prostate is good. You want to check into that. I was like, all right, cool. So, I go to the doctor and, I tell him, hey, listen, my father just passed of colon cancer. I want to schedule a colonoscopy and also want to schedule a PSA. My father, I mean, the doctor, looked at me. It was a Russian man, very disconnected, very cold. I don't even think he looked at me one time, that even looked in my face once. And you're too young. You can't get a PSA. Your father died of colon cancer? Yeah. Oh, you can get that, but you can't get a PSA. Why? Oh, you're too young. What do you mean I'm too young? He said, listen, how old was it when your father passed away from cancer? Instinctively, I was like, oh, he's not going to give me the test. It's a test that I need. Let me say a young age because he's asking the age. He's asking that because I think he's looking for a younger age to say in which he died. So I said a young age. I don't remember the age I said. And when I said the age, he said, oh, okay, you can get a PSA exam. And he did the PSA exam. And so let me be clear also about this, this PSA exam. And so just really some of the things that I acknowledge around men just not getting this test is because, there's a few ways the PSA exam is done. One is what is called a digital rectal, meaning they stick your finger in your butt. A lot of brothers are not getting exams because they feel, hey, listen, I'm not letting the doctor do this. I'll just die with it. That's the logic. The logic is I won't let a doctor examine me or a medical exam stick his finger in my rectum because that is gay, and I'll rather die and not know than to go and do that. So that was just insane to me to know that that was a thing or a belief. And so the other way is through a blood test. And so I got a blood test, and in the blood test, it shows your PSA level. And mine was high. And he said, hey, listen, your PSA level was high. We need to do a biopsy. Biopsy, they have to go in, take some pieces of the prostate so that they can test it. And so they did that. They tested it. And a few weeks later, I came back with the results. Again, this doctor did not look me in my face. It was very cold. I don't think he really acknowledged my humanity at all. There wasn't any compassion. And he said, yes, you have cancer. We need to schedule a surgery for you to remove your prostate. That was it. That was it. Cold, hard, you got cancer. There was no speak to and some sort of guidance counselor or something in the hospital to, maybe, I know you probably have to think about this. This is a lot to take in. You know, we can have, give you some options around treatment. This is treatable. None of that. None of that. You got cancer, take out your prostate. And that was pretty hard for me to accept, number one. And number two, because it was challenging for me to accept, I immediately put on my fighter's hat. I immediately put on an advocacy hat. Like, hold on, there has to be better than this. I need a second, third, even fourth opinion around this thing, and I have to advocate for myself and educate myself, because apparently the spaces in which, as a person coming into the medical world or coming in for a doctor to treat you for an ailment, you would expect or have some belief that, hey, they are the experts in this field, and not saying that they aren't, but that they know, and they are going to help educate me and guide me through this process. But this is just not the case, and this wasn't my case. And so I left out of that hospital, and I was on a mission. I was on a mission to educate myself, and tap into resources around me. Shout out to, um, you know, my mom, my Umi, my other mom, Miss Hassan, who really, you know, just held me, um, helped educate me, and the sister Kepra cares, like held me, educated me, guided me in the right path, allowed me to visit some holistic spaces, um, directed me to people to assist me around diet, around lifestyle change, and all of the things, while while just changing my body, changing my lifestyle, changing how I ate, changing how I thought, taking in the natural medicines and things of that nature. And I appreciate uh, these two women who came to my aid, and really assisted me through my time, right, of going through this, right. And so, you know, there's a few things that I also discovered. And just to go back to my dad, was that while my dad never had a conversation with me around health, even in the midst of his you know sickness, he was just in denial. He refused to talk to me even about his health, even in those moments. He just did not. And after his death, I began to see that there were other men just like him, like friends of mine, clients, that health was just not at the hierarchy of need. It wasn't a thing of that importance at the moment, right? It's like, I'm not sick right now, so why am I even concerned? To some degree, even to some degree of people at the moment, sometimes didn't even have medical insurance, right? And those are some of the things, that some of the challenges and cycles that we need to break. Period. It has to, because we will continue to pass those bad habits and those bad traditions on to our children, hiding our sickness, hiding our pills, not taking the things that we need to take, and not being, and so it's very disheartening to see happen. It's very bad for us to we're just dying off. We're just dying off. And I know that death is inevitable. Everyone has a date. Um, but it's how you take care of this vessel that the creator has given us. It's how you take care of it, and you just can't beat it up. You just can't beat it up. You can't wish the good health. You can't, you know just hope it disappear. You cannot, um all of these things are temporary fixes. You cannot pill it away, and without experiencing other possibilities of health issues. We just have to really be intentional about doing the some of the difficult and challenging work of just exercising some discipline, just really exercising some discipline, and controlling, you know, what we take in to our bodies, what we take in, what we take in visually, you know, what we take in visually, what we take in our mouths, what we eating, like all of those things. We have to be conscious. We have to fight against, those urges, those desires, to do the things that is really harming, us, and that is giving us temporary comfort. You know, um, yeah. I just wanted to share this. It was just important for me to share this moment, just this thought. I was in the gym today, just walking on the treadmill, and these are the things that came to my mind, and I said, let me just put this out there. Hopefully, it benefits. I think, I know that just we really need to begin to have some serious conversation. Men specifically, yep, men specifically. We need to begin to have some serious conversation about our health. Again, I'm no guru. I'm not saying everybody go vegan. I'm not saying, I'm not giving anyone, diagnosis for anything and do this, do that. All I'm just saying is that there needs to be a conversation about health, whatever path you decide to take in order to do that. That is 100% your choice. And just let's have the conversation and get into action around our health. Let's start having conversations with our children, with our young men, around our health. What is happening with us? What ailments are we suffering? What is our family history? If you don't know what your family history because you had no access to your dad, you need to be doing that research. You need to be trying to find that, hunt down that aunt, hunt down that uncle, hunt down those other family members that may still be around and may know your family's history, that can tell you your family's health history, so that you can be aware, so that you can get some blood work done, so that you can just see exactly where you are, start eliminating things from your diet, and begin to just live, and just do our best to really be as healthy. I advise every a male to make sure that you do get a prostate exam and that you advocate for yourself. I would say at age 40 for men of color that we should be looking to get a prostate exam. Do not let a doctor tell you you are too young and refuse. You have to advocate for yourself in those spaces. You ask to speak to a supervisor. The supervisor acting up, you leave that doctor's office or that hospital, you find somewhere else. You know, we have to advocate it for ourselves in those spaces because unfortunately, a lot of those, doctor's office is they're just not culturally competent. They are disconnected. Unfortunately, some of them, um, yeah. So please advocate for yourself. I don't want you to also think, see, because of that, that's why I'm not going to the doctor. At least understand your status, at least get some blood work, see where you are, and then take the next steps from there. And do your research and find, a doctor that would be, that can benefit you, you know? So with that, I open the door for any discussion, discussion about this. Again, I think it's something that us as men, we need to create space, safe space to be extremely vulnerable around our health, vulnerable around these issues that we are having, to get out of our mind that, we are not men if we talk about these things or we show emotion about these things or we may have fear or concern around these things. There's just some other narratives that we need to just pretty much get rid of, so that we can actually really show up. I was listening to Wall Street Trapper, man, and he had made mention around showing up, man, and how us as men showing up can change the trajectory of our family. And that really, really resonated with me, you know, showing up, right? And me just really understanding and learning what that is for me and what that is for my family. Not no one else telling me, not, clearing out all of the noise, but just finding the ways to show up. And one of the ways is just showing up healthy. One of the ways is showing up healthy, helping to create a healthy lifestyle with your family, so that you can change the trajectory of their health, so you can change the cycle of sicknesses, to change the cycle of the high blood pressure, the diabetes, and all the ailments and the things, right? We have the power to do those things. And so, yeah, I'm open. I don't know when people will see this video, or but in any event, like, comment, share it, hit me up. Let's create. I'm down to be on panels to have this discussion. Right. How can we begin to challenge some spaces around, uh, hospitals and doctors' office? How do we come in to educate those spaces, because there are doctors' offices, there are medical groups that wish to be educated. They want to connect with us. They want us to get healthy. They want us to come to the doctor's office more. So, with that being said, thank you all for listening. Hopefully, I didn't take up too much of your time. Again, hopefully, this benefits someone out there. Have these conversations with your children about your health. Do not hide it. Again, thanks for listening. See you on the next one.